So we all know about the Wrangler, right? That secondary weapon for engineer? The one that lets you take manual control of your sentry gun? Yeah, we all know how it's pretty annoying to fight against. I think that we can all agree on that. A good enough engineer can wipe the floor of a team, literally just because they press 2 on the keyboard. So how do you fight against that engineer who has that modified Atari controller at his disposal? Today we're gonna find out. I'm gonna be going through every class, though in what order I will not tell you. Let's start off with the easy 4 to cover. Yeah, there really isn't much you can do as these 4. With Medic, the only thing you can do is buddy up with another class and just pocket them. And as Engineer and Scout, there's pretty much nothing you can really do either. The only thing you can do is to pretty much just act like a distraction while another class goes in to kill the enemy. And with Sniper, all you can really do is headshot the Engineer, which might not even be possible if the sentry is in a more close space. Basically, with these 4 classes, you just have to leave it to the power classes, because otherwise you're pretty much just asking to be killed. It's worth noting that the biggest counter to a Wrangler NG is team coordination, which is obviously an incredibly unrealistic expectation to have when playing casual. You know, the place that everybody pretty much just fights for themselves, doing their own thing. These tips and strategies are for taking care of Wrangler NGs by yourself and with a friend or two. Now, into the actual meat of the video. Just a disclaimer, for most of these you're gonna have to get your friend or a random medic to pocket you. Just being overhealed might work, but it's better off just to be Ubered. Anyway, let's begin. For Soldier, the direct hit is going to be your best bet for taking care of Wrangler engineers. Get to a vantage point out of the enemy sentry's range, and instead of shooting at the gun itself, aim for the engineer, because when a sentry is wrangled it can take more than 5 direct hit rockets, so shooting the sentry just ain't gonna cut it. It might be difficult to hit the engineer because for 1, he's smaller than his gun, and 2, he can move. But it's gonna be your best bet, unless you're in an enclosed space, which is rare. But if you are, you can just use any other rocket launcher. Another way of taking care of wrangled sentries is just to use a calm angler paired with any shotgun. Now, charge shots do pitiful amount of damage to the gun, however it does stun it for a few seconds. When the gun is stunned, get closer to it and use your shotgun on it and or the engineer. I suggest taking care of the engineer first, and if you do die, a teammate will most likely destroy the sentry gun afterwards. As the hard counter to the engineer, it's not surprising that he has the easiest time when it comes to dealing with Wrangleers. The sticky launcher is your best friend for this situation. Stay out of the sentry sightline for as much as possible and either corner peek it or take advantage of the sticky launcher's arching
trajectory.
Unleashing most of your clip into his nest is not only going to do a large amount of damage to the sentry, but will also kill the engineer himself in the process if he's close enough to the sentry. And at that point you got the victory in the bag. For Heavy, make sure you take some sort of flank route to get as close to the nest as possible without being in its line of sight. When you're ready, jump around the corner and shoot the engineer, not the sentry. If and when the engineer dies, the sentry will be disabled for a few seconds, allowing you to close in and turn it into scrap. And if he's smart and hides behind the sentry, run up to him using the gloves of running urgently, and then do what was said beforehand. I don't have any footage for this, so just imagine it in your head, I guess. Oh yeah, while I'm here, Pyro's job is practically the same as the Heavy, so we'll just put him in the same section. Spy is stereotyped as the counter to Engineer. However, the Engineer's got a pair of tools to retaliate against Spy even if he's equipped with the Wrangler, like a shotgun and a wrench that can kill a Spy in 2 hits. Despite this, taking care of an Engineer with a Wrangler sentry isn't going to be that much different from an Engineer with any other secondary. The sap and shoot strategy is still viable, albeit risky, as engineers with Wranglers typically stay close to the nest. Your best bet is to instead have your team distract the engineer, as an engineer wrangling his gun has tunnel vision and power with that of a gibbous sniper. When he's distracted, that's when you go in for the backstab and stab the sentry. If the engineer is close enough to his sentry though, you can just get behind him, backstab him, and then stab the sentry. It's pretty much just what happens normally. Now you may have noticed a certain theme with these strategies. Killing the engineer is always your best bet, as not only does that leave his gun defenseless for a few seconds, but now, unless there's another engineer there to repair the sentry, there won't be anyone there to repair it. In a sense, use the shield as an alarm clock to switch your focus off the gun, but to the engineer. After all, it's the gun that's tanky, not the engineer. The engineer is still at 125 health. Now, did you really expect me just to make a video completely shitting on my own main class?
Yes.
Well, fair enough, I guess. Anyways, here's how to counter the counter as engineer. Does all of this mean that the engineer is completely defenseless? No. There's plenty you can do as the engineer to combat these strategies. Against heavies and soldiers, just hide behind your gun while they're angling. Against Demo, make sure you have the shotgun. Get his focus onto your gun by wrangling it, and then get close to him and pump him full of lead. Demo struggle in close quarters combat as he risks taking massive self damage. As Spy, you've just gotta be aware. Spies rely on their enemies already being occupied by something, so when you're being pushed by a power class, listen for decloaks. If you hear one, either just jump ship or take your attention off the power class pushing in for a second and take care of the Spy. Using the Southern Hospitality is good against spies, so you could use that. It may sound risky, but just don't worry, as your gun is going to have more than enough health just to take care of the power class pushing in. Now as for Ubers, it's best you just jump ship and run away and hope that your team can recover. So here's the end of the video. I hope these tips worked, and if you have any more, comment them down below. Anyway, that is all for today. If you enjoyed, subscribe, like, comment, do whatever. But yeah, have a good day and thanks for watching.